Hey Dwalls! Today we're taking a look at Integrity Toys' We Love Poppy Parker doll, and I believe this is the first doll that they released for their Stay Tuned convention. Here's what the box looks like. If you don't know, Stay Tuned was a convention that was themed around cult classic TV shows. That's why the box looks like this. TVs sometimes do that. This nice shine to it. The back of the box, which also has a little color shift. The lid just pops off from the top. Here's what it says on the inside. A bit of color up here and grayscale down below. Full disclosure, I've already unboxed her and she was actually on my display for the longest time, but then I moved and then I repackaged her, so I figured now would be a good time to give you guys a little run through of what she looks like to help you guys decide if this is a doll you want to put your money in. Can we take a moment to appreciate Integrity's packaging? So this is really cool. Look, they've got the silicone gel here and here, right? So that the stuff doesn't get moldy. And they've got little holes over there so the silicone gel can help. So it's super neat, but out of the way. And then we've got these pretty ribbons and these stoppers, so it's easy to remove, but it still looks and fancy and secure, which is important. And then over here, I think I've seen something like this with some other doll lines, but basically this is how you pop out the stand base. But I mean, it's so satisfying that it's got its own little section here, right? And then over here is the little stock of the stand, which is so cool. And let me show you these little flaps. So we turn it over, right, and then we see obviously nice packaging or whatever, but also super functional. Like I mentioned, the holes for the silica gel, and then down here it's super secure and doesn't damage your doll. And this little piece which holds your accessories, and it is snug and not sliding around because of the slits. And that's what you see over here, the little tabs. But it's also super easy to get to and take apart, which I appreciate. I think it's just such a smart way of packaging things, and I just really wanted to highlight that. And look, everything's all like neatly packaged. It is so satisfying and reliable. I really appreciate it. Here's what the certificate of authenticity looks like. Very nice and thick paper, but it is not numbered. This is where the accessories are kept. I really like that it just slots in like that. It's very satisfying. In case you were wondering, this is kind of how this works. Her accessories are packaged better than what I'm showing you right now, but that's just because I've already opened her up and removed all the plastic and stuff like that. So let me get into the accessories before we get into the doll. It comes with a pair of flat feet, legs, which go up to around her knees. These are so that she can wear her kitten heel sling back shoes. These are pleather on the inside. They are lined with this shimmery fabric. There are two separate pieces, so they've sewn that together for the toe bit. Nails are painted gray. Obviously, we'll get into it, but this whole doll is in grayscale. She also comes with a pair of black pants. If you're curious to see how these fit, I do have a little YouTube short that you can watch to see how she transforms with the different pieces of clothing that they give her. This has two clasps on the back. It's this kind of like tracksuit material, if you can hear that. Kind of poofy, kind of airy. It's got this sort of a shape at the top. She also comes with this tiny little like scarf thing. The second set of hands. These ones are posed with the index pointing forwards, and her nails are again painted the same gray. She also came with this little tag on her wrist, which was really cute. This is what her stand looks like. It's a saddle stand, and it's got two holes, so you can decide where exactly you'd like to place her. As you'd expect at a $195 price point before shipping and handling, she does come with a little hairnet to protect her hairstyle. It's her pleather handbag. This is made pretty nicely. Black rounded handle, which is pleather, and it's sewn down the middle. And then it has some hardware at the ends and a jump ring on either side, and it attaches to the bag like that, so it gives it a little bit of motion. And this is a little claspy thing that actually works, and we open it like that. The bag is really narrow and tiny, so I'd advise being careful with it, especially because it is pleather and it will crack over time. In the front we have this pleather bow. The bag does have some kind of very tiny patterning on it. It's very subtle and you can see it in this light. And here's what the side looks like. Moving on to Poppy herself. Obviously, she's a little different from all the other Poppies and the other dolls in this line because she is in grayscale. I really like the grayscale, and I think she was actually the first Integrity doll that really caught my eye and convinced me to start collecting and investing my time into Integrity. I always knew that they were high quality dolls, but this was it for me. So she's got a nice fantasy skin tone, obviously the Poppy Parker face mold, matte finish to her skin more or less, and it's very smooth. It's this cool gray that's kind of yummy, and I think I really like the way that her outfit has like blue tinges to it even though it's gray. I think it's really tasty. And her hair is kind of a blonde gray, also very cool. I like how they manage the tones of the grays in this entire doll. Gorgeous Poppy face, and she's got button earrings, just plain and simple. And her hairstyle is super cute, reminiscent of the 1960s, which she's trying to emulate. If you didn't know, that's why she's in grayscale, by the way. So this is designed after or inspired by the I Love Lucy TV show, which was really popular back then. And, you know, naturally back then, television was in black and white or grayscale. So that's why she's in this color scheme. And her hair is really nice and soft, but definitely has wax in it. Her curls stay in place, gel, and like up here for sure. And she's got her rooted eyelashes, and her screening is simple and pretty. She comes with 3 bangles, so a black one and a couple of gray ones. This wide belt, this is actually removable, so you can unhook it from this tiny thread and you can wrap the scarf I showed you guys earlier around this collar. This isn't actually a dress on its own. This is actually a bodysuit and a skirt that comes together for the illusion of a dress, which is super cool, very much of its time. So that also means that you can have this top with the pants. Here are her hands. This pose is a little bit more fanned out with the fingers, but again we have that same nail polish color. So this is the standout piece for me, and it kind of reminds me of a parasol. Basically it's constructed in such a way that the darker panels are kind of meant to look like they're popping out. How they're sewn together is that there's a bit of a lip up the top of each panel. So this is the lip, there's more give up top, and then they kind of blend and get stitched flatter towards the bottom. And I thought that was pretty smart and not something you see every day. So it gives you this kind of look. Of course, if you prefer, you can just kind of like fan it out, and then you just kind of get like a sort of like a beach ball effect where it's everything's a little flatter, but that does mean you get to poof out the skirt a little wider. This fabric is similar to her little jumpsuit piece. It's the same fabric really. It's got these 3D little black dots all over it, and then we've got this silver running through in vertical stripes. The whole thing is lined underneath like that. This, which is attached to the skirt, so this is a part of the skirt, it's not removable. We've got 1, 2, 3 layers of tulle, There again, you can see her jumpsuit. On here, we have her first pair of heels, or her first pair of shoes. So these ones are a little bit more detailed. They have very thin strips of pleather, so the strap kind of loops around like that, and this one is closed at the back and stitched together, and then we've got tiny buckles. These are functioning buckles, I believe you can actually pull them out, but I frankly don't want to stress out the leather. And again, they're lined with that same silvery sole as the first pair. And these heels are hard, and I appreciate that. I hate when dolls have flimsy heels that start warping and won't stand right. Bottoms of her shoes are just plain. The legs are essentially the same, except that these ones are meant for high heels. She is articulated, of course, at the standard points: shoulders, hips, knees, wrists, elbows, head. Although the head, not so much. And she has a chest joint too. This is what the back of her jumpsuit looks like. It's got a bit of a dive back, and it's got metal clasps and a thread to hold it in place and to take it apart. There's another clasp down there. And this ones are for the skirt, so they've got 2 each, I believe. And this belt is functional with 4 little holes for you to adjust. Top of the jumpsuit also has the metal clasp and thread. You can actually see the sculpt of her shoulder blades, which is kind of cool. If you pull this a little lower, you can see the chest joint, so this is a nice height where you don't really see that chest joint so much, and it still looks elegant. Here's a closer look at her hair. That's how they've done her ponytail, and she's got 3 swirls in the front, and just, this is meant to be together with this, by the way, so it's just like one swirly flip thing that curls upward. She is so pretty. She is so pretty with her rooted eyelashes and everything. I love how vintage she is with her hairstyle and everything, but I don't know, maybe she's just a little preppy for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not quite obsessed with her. But she's so pretty. Like, looking at her now, I love the way she looks. So I don't know. It is very clear where the money goes to. You see it in how amazingly posable she is, and how smooth her joints are, and how quality the base doll actually feels. The plastic isn't hollow, and it feels nicely finished. The paint job is also fantastic, and the placement of everything is nice, and she's got rooted eyelashes, a fairly detailed hairstyle that's nicely in place, and all of her pieces are very well made, and the craftsmanship of each of her pieces is very obviously very well put together, with a lot of detail and things that most other doll lines don't give us. But that's also why it comes with a heftier price tag, and why it is solely targeted at working adults. You get what you pay for with this doll. Perhaps as I grow as a collector, I've realized that as much as she is super pretty, I have a very limited space, and I can kind of only afford to keep dolls that I am absolutely like head over heels in love with, and I think she's just a little bit too ordinary in her style for me, for my personal tastes. I don't really get excited by stuff like that, although she is beautiful. But yeah, I need like whimsy, fantasy, or something, or like super high fashion type things to really get me excited, I think. But that's just like, again, a personal collector preference thing. Like, if I had all the money in the world, all the space in the world, probably wouldn't matter as much. Overall, I think that she is a really pretty doll, and I really like that they did something different with Poppy. Poppy Parker isn't my favorite out of the Integrity doll lines, but I do like an occasional Poppy. She's usually pretty safe in my opinion. She has nice designs, but nothing that ever really gets me to absolutely want to fork out 200 bucks, you know what I mean? To date, there are probably about 3 Poppies that I absolutely love. This is one of them, but I've had her for quite a while now, possibly close to a year. Frankly, I don't really remember. I've found that I can kind of live without her. Like, looking at her now, she is so pretty, but she's also a little boring. And that's just my honest opinion at this point in time. I don't know, and I wasn't as excited to receive her when I did, which is kind of disappointing. I don't know why. I think maybe she's just, again, a little bit safe. Perhaps with the fantasy skin tones, it was a little bit more exciting, you know, and I also appreciate a good timepiecey fashion. So that was cool. And obviously, like, Poppy herself is gorgeous, and I've always appreciated her face sculpt, and I like her hair and everything, but there's nothing about her that makes it feel like, you know, if there was a house fire, I would absolutely, undoubtedly reach for this doll. That's just me, but I hope that this video helped you decide whether or not Poppy is for you in particular. I honestly don't really know how they could have improved this doll because she's pretty cool. I want to say outerwear piece or something, but it doesn't really make sense with the concept. So, like, I think they were really smart in how they executed the pieces because of how interchangeable they are while still being super cohesive. Like, they are very clearly still sending the same message and still a part of the same feel and vibe, but there's plenty to play around with, and it's pretty easy to do that. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Would you have preferred if they gave her a little bit more variety in her pieces? What do you think of this doll? Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I hope you guys found this helpful or entertaining in the least bit. I do apologize for the shifty lighting and sort of janky setup, especially in the first bit of this video, because this is my first time filming in my new house and I'm still trying to figure out the lighting and stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.